So yesterday this was a fundamental diagram on which we were trying to concentrate, okay? So with the discussion what we had in yesterday's class, one thing what we can finalize is, we always start anything in practicality of a database, understanding the system and going along with the system. We try to come into the system once again, but next time when we are coming into the system, we are expecting the system to be more effective than the previous one. So this is a continuous cycle now, you need to understand. So no system in the world can be at any point of time closed by its nature, because the human being wants a system which is always more better than the previous. So this is one tendencycal process that will be running continuously and there is no end for this. The best example I can tell you is, you show me any kind of product that is existing in the world that basically never comes with a new state of its existence and new state of features and facilities. So there is a change that happens in the objects and the events that are executed within a system, because the objects are always expecting the system to be more better than yesterday. So where is the end for database now? And there are a great lot of rumors in the markets like databases are no more existing. These are very fundamental questions I face when I start facing the people, especially when we go for any guest lectures or workshops. The first thing what the students or even working professionals will ask, like, I heard that in next few years databases will not be there. If databases are not there, systems are not there. If systems are not there, human beings are not there. So end of databases, end of human beings. We should be very practically clear about this. New technologies will come, but they don't try to kill the old technology anytime. We are only misunderstanding through the process. Even today you find people who blindly say that mainframes are not existing. There are people who say that we don't have unstructured state of data. Technology growth doesn't mean that we are definitely going in a different style and strategy of implementation, killing the past. The only thing what we are trying to do is, we are automating the things in a better way so that human intervention can be less, automation can be more, accuracy can be increased, reliability can be promised, robustness is a criteria, scalability is a must. These things we are promising. So if suppose say like I am automating the world in such a way that in the place of one doctor, I am having a robot that is conducting the operation. That doesn't mean that robot is doing any operation without above the principles what the doctor does. The only difference is the accuracy levels what robot will provide could be more better than the doctor. To do some small operation, if a doctor has to cut your body by say like 10 inches, your robot could be cutting the body by only half a centimeter. But the fundamental mechanism has never changed. Universal truth always stays as it is. Don't forget that. So automation is one kind of unwanted discussion for people as far as our country is concerned. Because we have not seen any automation in the world till now. How we can speak about that? How we can understand that? In practicality of automation, if we are speaking, it is an exaggeration. Why? Because we have not even seen 10% of the automation of the world that is actually happening. That's the only reason we are much worried that automation kills the jobs. Never. Automation increases the jobs. So the cycle of this system, you show me, it can stop any day. This will never stop. When this can never stop, how data management can stop? If data management can never stop, how database management system softwares can stop? If database management system softwares are not stopping, where is the criteria that your career can stop now? Database management systems will not be in the world. This rumor I am listening from 1998, okay? This is a continuous thing I will be hearing every time. When data warehouses came in 98, people used to come and ask me at that time, Satish, I heard that databases will not be there anymore in the world. Why? Data warehouses came. Databases are surviving, data warehouses are surviving. People who say that because of data warehouses, databases will not survive, they are so ignorant that what data the database will produce, that data only data warehouse will use. Data warehouse never produces its own data. Data warehouses will always use the data produced by the databases. If databases are stopping, means data warehouses cannot exist. Out of ignorance, we find people saying that because of data warehouses, databases will not be there. These are point of misunderstanding the systems. The reason I was just keeping my mind totally on this particular point yesterday. Now we have to move further. Before we start practically with the databases, with SQL or PLSQL, whatever it is, first let us check whether we are ready for doing databases effectively what industry expects. I believe in one principle seriously. If I want to run a marathon, I cannot run suddenly one day. I should check whether I can really run a kilometer first of all. You want to really become a database developer, because you are sitting here, you cannot become database developer. Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have the bandwidth and the attitude of becoming a database developer? There's a continuous cross-questioning as a factor. So when you really want to become a database developer, you can't really become a database developer because you take some technology in your hand. There are three very important things you have to understand first of all on the fundamental side. These things, how best you understand, I'm not bothered, but these things, at least by their fundamental sense, can you catch them or not is my botheration. Because when I'm discussing certain things in my next few minutes, you just check where your gap is arising, how much amount of gap is arising, you just make a cross comparison to that. According to that, you should understand what is the amount of effort you have to keep to understand this technology. So, it's a criteria of catching whether we are ready for the process that is expected or not. So, if we can just go back by 24 hours, we are very sure that being database management system developers, we always play the game with what? Data. So, technically, the point what we should understand here is, what is exactly meant by data? The first thing what we should understand is, what is exactly meant by data? See, data as a definition, I don't think anybody can have confusion. That too, if you have already come from academic backgrounds of computer sciences, somewhere in your overall computer science academics, you could have got the definition. If you are a non-computer science graduate also, it's not a big issue to get the definition of data. If you are just asking me on fundamental sides of what is data, it is very easy to make a student to believe in this market what is data. There is nothing but data is anything that is unorganized by nature. Now, few students convinced to the definition what I gave. Few students, they get into their own inconvenience and confusion with that what I said. But book, when you open it, when you open the book, this is a definition. Data is anything that is unorganized by nature. Now my question is, we are defining the data. Then when you are defining the data, without giving proper identity for the data, how you can say it is organized or unorganized? The most simplest thing we can just make the student understand, sir, what is meant by unorganized state? A student can ask now. Then we'll say like unorganized means it is anything that is not organized. This is how we can just make the answers to roll on. Then if the student is somewhere more tough, let us say, so that's what I'm asking you, what is not organized? Can you understand what is organized? Yes, sir. Then anything opposite to that is unorganized. Then the student thinks like it's better not to ask my question anymore, because either he doesn't want to give the answer or he doesn't know the answer. But we don't dare to ask those two things to the faculty anytime now. So you cannot take answers like this and come to the industry. I'm telling you, be very clear. It's the same kind of answer you give to your client who is sitting in Western or European side, he will tear your skin and give it in your hands directly. Remember that, okay? Because Indian clients are different, Western clients are different. First understand their nature first of all. They expect everything to the clarity of its existence. You cannot take it anything from the book and speak about it. So, if you say you know data, then I have to get convinced how best you know the data. That is what is your job in next few minutes. So let us see how exactly we'll pick up the definition of the data. Now once you know what is data, the next immediate responsibility that starts is information. We should definitely understand what is meant by information. When I can say something is an information. Now the best simple definition we can take from the books for information is any data that is organized. The biggest wonder here is we did not understand what is data. Then how we can think that we can understand what is information? And I think in last 2 classes when I said, as a database developer, our job is to catch the data and give the information. You all were shaking your heads very perfectly, I hope so. But is it that simple to really make data to become information? So finally, what is the perspective the industry is moving through to make everything to happen? Therefore, we can't keep the definitions in our own way. We cannot understand or we should not understand anything the way we are expecting. Everything is left to the rule of the industry now. The third thing you should understand definitely before you get into your database is what is meant by metadata. Somewhere with your fundamental experience, data and information you could have been hearing in your day-to-day life. Everybody, whether you are technical, non-technical, that doesn't matter. But metadata is something most probably majority of the people who are coming from non-technical backgrounds or non-computer science backgrounds, we don't hear about this. Now your computer science or non-computer science, it doesn't matter, but if you're knocking the door of the industry, definitely you should understand what is metadata. Now I'm not saying that I'll make you an expert in these three areas immediately in next 30 minutes. But as we complete this course, starting from today, day by day, our intelligence, experience and exposure should be at par with the industry, and we should see that we are definitely understanding these things better than yesterday. Every day that should be an introspection for us. So what is there to understand these 3 things so seriously? We never started, we can have our own questions. Let us begin to get the answers very effectively. So, now data is organized or it's unorganized, these are not the things that I care. If I am sitting in my application and if I am speaking with my juniors, I definitely cross-check how many times they are out of the box. They are always out of the book to speak and experience some things. What the book says, you don't need to say. Why? Because the author has researched and he has written the book long back. But what you experienced out of what the author has said and how you can define that in a better way. So, let us just start with the process properly now, okay? Now, your job starts very seriously because I always expect in certain areas my students should be interactive with me now. See, me speaking like this continuously is not a problem, but sometimes I should also understand you. So whenever I ask a question, let us make some protocols very clear now. Whenever I ask a question, I don't ask a question underestimating your ability. First understand this. I do believe that you're all 16 years graduates and postgraduates, means you know definitely many things in your life. The only thing is, you may not be confident in speaking about it, or you may not got an opportunity to speak about that. So let us not misunderstand one another. Whenever I ask a question, you think that I'm asking you a question because you don't know, or you're thinking that this gentleman asks us questions and will have some psychological satisfaction. No. Okay? It's not like that. The simple reason we are putting question to one another is we want to understand ourselves first of all. The moment you answer my question, I'll understand you are thinking at which level. Your level of thinking is absolutely what I am expecting. I will always understand that, okay, this is one level of batch where they are already at par with certain things what the industry needs. Then I'll make a change in my training methodology so that I can give you something that looks more better than what it is. When you're answering and I feel that you're not to the mark, then I will take a decision at which level I should come down and I should make the things to be discussed with you so that you can get the things in a better way. No two batches what I conduct are same. Remember that it all depends on the students who are sitting in now. So until you don't speak, I'll never understand at what level I have to train you. So this will be a continuous process, be very clear about it. Generally we have one kind of tendency in our system that when we ask some questions, we hesitate to speak because we are almost worried like if I give a wrong answer, my person beside me can laugh at me. Don't worry man, okay? The person beside you also don't know anything. So you don't need to worry about that. So let us leave all those kind of attitudes what we have, because once you come into this industry, the more you speak, the more you gain. The more you are expressive, the more you will get your opportunities. First understand this. So let us build our nature for that. So now your job definitely starts where the first question we are starting is what is data actually now. Okay, anyhow, what is the definition, what the book gives, let us not worry about that. Okay, that's a definition that is good enough to write in your examinations to get 2 marks. But that will not help industry anywhere. So whenever you talk about data, first I will finalize few things and finally let us see whether we both can come onto the same platform of understanding or not. Because I am sitting on this side and speaking with you, don't confirm and don't accept everything what I say. First, that is the nature you have to develop. You should also think intellectually from your side, what I am speaking is going properly to the standard or not. That's what I said, the minute you start believing me, I can start telling you any story. So you have to catch your own experience and you should also understand that I am also educated, I can also think, so let me check whether the other person what he is saying is correct or not. That kind of mindset you should develop. If this is not developed, what happens, I'll tell you. When you get into your companies, when your senior speaks any blunder, you don't know how to encounter that blunder and tell him straightforward what you're speaking is wrong. Because you've always had one psychology that my senior is always more correct than me. It's wrong. Okay? So, it's not to offend any seniors. But it doesn't mean that all seniors know everything in this world. So, your experience is yours. So, let's come with the data first. Whenever you say that it's data, what technologically you should confirm is it should have a stored representation first. You cannot say anything as data until you do not give a stored representation for that. So the first property data should satisfy is stored representation. What do we mean by stored representation? Now generally if you are talking with computer science background, we will just immediately come to one conclusion that stored representation means it can be kept in the hard disk or it can be kept in the floppy drive, it is CD or DVD. I am not talking about that now. Stored representation in the sense, any kind of constructive symbol through which you can recognize what kind of data it is. Scripted. It should be scripted and it should be identifiable. So when you say you are having data with you, how many number of times you can promise that your data has a stored representation? Now what I should store now? We will always store the data that is belonging to the system. Now system is a huge collection of objects and events, or only few objects and events? Huge collection of objects and events. All objects and events influence the system, or they don't influence the system? Influence the system. When? By situation of the event. By situation of the event. A system is no doubt a huge collection of objects and events, but all objects and events are definitely important, but every object and event is not going to be influenced every time. By situation, certain objects and certain events are influencing. Therefore, when we are saying that we are storing the data, I want to give a stored representation to the data. Anything I give a stored representation, if I say it's data, then what I should store? I should only store objects and events in that system. I should only make an arrangement in such a way that I am storing only the objects and events. But which objects and which events? Only such objects and such events that are having greatest meaning and importance to the end user's environment as per his requirements. So, the world is filled with objects, but all the objects are not essential in the world. Circumstantially, situationally, by the boundary of existence to that event that is executed, certain objects are always important to define that particular system to that situation. Those objects I have to identify, recognize that event that is making that object to become important to that particular situation, and store the object and store the event. So those objects and those events, what we are trying to store by giving one stored representation by the importance of the end user with respect to the situation of the environment in which he is working his data. Be very, very clear about that. See, let us take simple things. This is one system in which we are existing. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Yes. Now you are the object sitting on that side, and I am the object sitting on this side. Yes or no? So, at 9 o'clock in the morning, some question is coming from some end user. At 9 o'clock in the morning, in third floor of this particular building, can you tell me what is happening? So somebody is questioning on what? Event. To that event we should give an answer. The answer what we are giving is, at 9 o'clock in the morning, in the third floor of this building, an Oracle class is being conducted. Then who is attending the class? There is another question that is coming on to the event once again. Then we are saying that certain students are attending and a particular faculty is taking the class. Now, a question is, who are those students? Then I think we need to give the information of the student. Yes or no? So, I am giving information of the student means what? I am giving the data about an object. If I don't have a stored representation of that object's data, how I can produce it now? So, let us say like you are one object now. Now, I know that you are part of this particular system for an event called as a class. Now, I am asking your details. Will you give me or no? Yes. Now, imagine that I am asking your friend's details. Then immediately you'll ask, no, sir, why my friend's details for you? Why? Because I am asking some object's data which is not important to this system and event. So, you immediately rejected your friend's data. Or say like I am giving you one form and I am saying that please write your data. You will write your name, you will write everything. And under that I am saying that please write 50 friends' names and their mobile numbers. Definitely you will question me. Asking like, sir, my data I will give you. Why the hell I will give you my friends and their mobile numbers now? Then I'm saying that just like that one, just like that I will not give. Tell me the reason now. See, you don't accept all the objects. That doesn't mean that your friend is not your object. But that is a domain of friend. This is a domain of class. You are not interested to make your friend who is in your domain to get introduced to this class. Why? Because that is not important event for this business system for you. So we don't collect all the objects of a system. Be very clear about that. So try to understand these particular factors very clearly. Therefore, if a reason is not there, we don't reveal the information. We don't reveal the data of the object. Let us say like you are staying in your house, somebody knocked on your doorbell and you don't know who is that person. He's just asking, without asking anything, he's saying like, can you just tell me the details of the people who are your neighbors now? Then what do? You immediately ask, who are you? That person is saying that it is unnecessary for you. Tell me the details of these particular people, you know. When you're saying that anything you ask me about my house, why are you talking about that? Then that particular person said like, I'm coming from special branch and we have some information of your address with us, where these people who have applied for a passport, they said like, their information can be collected from you. So he gave the reason for the event or not? Yes. Will you give the information or not? Yes. Is without proper validation, we don't reveal any data. So which data we have to store? Therefore, data is unorganized, organized, these are all fundamental definitions. If we go deep into the definition of the data, it should be stored representation of objects and events that are definitely having meaning and importance to that user's environment. Any object, any event, I feel that it is not important to my environment of the business, I don't care that, I don't consider that as data for me. Therefore, something which is not data for me can be data for somebody else. Something that is data for somebody else may not be data for me. Why? Why, can you tell me? Because we both are not in the same boundary. We both are not in the same boundary of the system. So data is definitely dynamic by its nature or not? So how you can give a standardized definition, it is organized or organized, unorganized is unimportant. When we say it is unorganized, it means that identity of the data to the relevant of the situation, circumstance, boundary and the event is not clear. That is called as data. So your people generally misunderstand unorganized means it is basically not arranged properly. Arrangement means what do you think? Is it in the form of X and Y and Z axis? Don't go geometrically into the definition. If you go into the geometrical definition, you will never get the correct definition of the data. Now data can be represented in two different formats. In any particular system, small or big, data can be represented in two different formats. One is the structured state of the data, the next is the unstructured state of the data. According to that only we will say this is structured data and this is unstructured data. That is what we will be telling anytime. Be very, very clear about that. So technically, whenever you are trying to go with the construct and composition of your data, what is exactly meant by structured state? Any kind of data that has representation with respect to alphabetical order, numerical order or grammatical order is structured. In most technical way, if we are speaking, structured data is any kind of data that is represented by your general standard input device. Your general standard input device is what? Keyboard. When through the keyboard you make any kind of inputs and you start collecting that in symbolic form of alphabets, numbers and grammatical symbols, that is nothing but what? Structured data. Second thing is, structured data has one kind of arrangement. Arrangement in the sense, this is the column of name, this is the column of date of birth. Means certain kinds of clear representation and evidence of identity will be there for structured data. When you get into the data storage architecture, whenever you get into the data storage architecture and you pick up any value, you will come to know this value belongs to which property of the object. That is structured data. Because when I have some data value in my hands, if somebody questions me on the data value, I can definitely tell the object and its property. That is structured data. I have certain data in my hand as a value and somebody is questioning me on the object and the property. I am saying that I don't know. Then that is unstructured state of the data. So unstructured data is generally the data that cannot have a very proper representation to its existence. The best example is your audio, video and image files. So your computer can understand more easily the structured state data. But the world is now dominated by which data? Unstructured data. That is a challenge in the world today, man. The end user is trying to give which data? Unstructured data, and we have to store the data in the system as structured state. And whenever the end user is querying the data on which state? Unstructured state. We have to show him the data with structured state. That is what is next 50 years definitely, and 100 years of the challenge that arises in data management systems now. So there is nothing like anything is going to be simple in databases in the next generations. That's what I say. Every day I say only one thing. Are we getting prepared to the next generation requirements of the databases? Or are we orthodoxically learning the same things what the people have been doing since last 50 years? So that's a very serious question that is there in front of us. Anyhow, time tells us how we deal with it. Now your job starts. Now I am saying that this what I am representing is data. Okay? What I am saying, I am keeping it in front of you. What I am representing in front of you is nothing but data. Now my question to you is, it's data or not, you don't worry now, because I am saying you don't need to agree with it. Now what I am showing you on my screen is organized or unorganized? Is organized or unorganized? Organized, unorganized. Two answers cannot be there, any one can be there. Organized or unorganized? Organized. People who are saying unorganized, can you tell me why did you feel it's unorganized? First let me answer those people. It is not in the understandable format. In which way you think it's not in understandable format? So we have certain things like, we have values here, but we do not know this value belongs to exactly which object. The people who said it is organized, the people who have been saying it's organized, the only reason they said it's organized is their mind is trying to see this data with vertical lines logically drawn and certain horizontal lines that are absolutely applied. That's how majority of the times we come into conclusion about organized state and unorganized state of the data. So many times people come to conclusion that because this data is looking like what now? One table of rows and columns, it is organized, then how it can be data? It should be information. That's where in the last two classes I said, once again I'm repeating, how many times we people can look into the physical state of anything and understand that by its logical state. So what your eyes are seeing, you should not believe and take the definition in that way. Logically, where it is looking specific to what we are expecting is very important. So data and information is not a definition of difference between anything that is not having rows and columns is data, having rows and columns is information. I have seen people coming with such definitions. Anywhere you have that definition, remove it from your brain. Here, organized and unorganized are very interesting cases now. This is definitely an unorganized state of data, unorganized. Why? I have certain questions and I want answers from you, okay? Only then you will start understanding. If this is data, then definitely it should belong to some objects and definitely referencing to certain events, where objects and events should belong to a system. This is what we have been discussing, yes or no? Now my question is, can you tell me the system that is representing this data? Can you just give me the system that is representing this particular piece of the data? I'll help you, okay? I'll help you. This data belongs to a healthcare management system. This data belongs to one banking system. This data belongs to an insurance system. This data belongs to a retail outlet system. This data belongs to an educational system. Can you tell me which system this data belongs to? Huh? Retail, banking, healthcare, education and insurance. Definitely we can't say. Definitely we can't say. There is something that is running in your brain, but it's having its own confusion. Your brain is saying that this is healthcare. Immediately the second part of the brain says, no, it can be insurance also. So, it is no doubt, it is representing some system in the world, but which system is not clear. When your system to which it belongs, when the system to which the data belongs is not clear, that is data, it's not information. So why? If you do not know the system, what events you can conduct on this? What logic you can apply on this? What analysis you will do on this? So, data is anything that does not give you the clarity of the business system. Therefore, it is unorganized. Why it is unorganized? System is not clear. If it is organized, my system should be clear to me. Are you understand the meaning of what is unorganized? Sir, author is saying it is unorganized. Author has written the book after 20 years of research. When his 20 years research, if he writes in the book, you will never read. So his 20 years research, he converted into one line. And he is telling that behind this line, 20 years information is there, you think and you do it now. I mean, how many times we purchased a book and then went and talked to the author? So, when we take a book, we should understand the perspective of the person who has been writing that particular book, under what kind of scenario of analysis he has written, else we will misunderstand the definition. Okay, system is not clear, let us leave it. The data should belong to some object. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Now, at least can you tell me this data belongs to which object in real time? I will help you once again, okay? This data belongs to a student. This data belongs to a faculty. This data belongs to one customer. This data belongs to an account holder in the bank. This data belongs to one patient in a hospital. This data belongs to one doctor who is treating the patient. And this data belongs to one particular employee working in an organization. Out of these all objects I told you, which object is the owner of this data? Huh? We can't say. We can't say. Why? Because when the system itself is not clear, how the object can be clear to me? So object's identity is by system. Remember that. Therefore, object is always part of the system. System is not part of the object. The reason in management sciences, we have one very wonderful definition. Generally in organization behavior, the definition is given to the people who are studying management. A system is always more important than an individual. Because individual never makes a system. System will make an individual to exist. Therefore, an object can never exist unless and until the system is not clear. Why? An object's behavior is always controlled as per the boundary of the system. According to the behavior of the object, the system cannot be built. See, sometimes these things can be looking out of the box, but I'll tell you one thing, man, okay? Why is it that when we are in our system of our country, let us take it, why is it that we feel much inconvenient? Some 1947 we got the independence, man. We'll reach 75 years very soon. Now we are, in these all years we are saying we are developing country. We never said we are developed country. Why this happens in our country, can you tell me? Nobody follows the rules as per the system. Everybody says, "Mere hisab se desh chalna hai." We are more individual state of mindset of citizens in the world, where we will think that what I say, according to that only it will run. That's where we should understand we are unorganized country in the world. Why people say it's only these reasons. If any great patriots are there in my class, please don't curse me now, okay? We know how much we are patriotic in our life now. But fact is a fact. Why? Because the object can never dictate the system. System should dictate the object. To dictate the objects in the system, every system contains what? How the object should behave. If the system has to say, what is that is designed in the system? We call that as the protocol of rules. This protocol of rules of the system, every object has to follow. At country level, we call it as what? Constitution. So, systems are very, very logically strong to understand, I'm telling you. Therefore, sir, I will write one query in SQL. I don't need you, man. Why? Because your query has no meaning. What I should do with that, tell me? If you write a query, your query should represent the system and the object by its behavior. Then only I'll accept it. Therefore, what you are going to give as an example, industry never takes. Because client always has a system and he has his own rules how the object should behave. According to that, if you write a query, it's the same logic has to apply. These are very serious things to concentrate, I'm telling you. So, when the system itself is not clear, objects can never be clear. Leave the objects now. Leave the object for some time. Can you tell me what is this first column is representing? Can you tell me the first column is which property? Can you tell me the property? Name. Whose name? Whose name? So see how we do the blunders now, okay? The silence shows that the rule of confidence is not there. I'm not saying that you don't know, but you are having your own confusion to give the answer or not to give the answer. That is happening just because this is data. For some students, they may think that this is a name only, but when the question is whose name, then only the confusion starts. The simple thing is, when the object is not clear, how the property can be clear? These are all interrelations. Therefore, a property is always a reference of one object. An object is always an association of one system. Systems are integrated to become one application. This is what is the fundamental life of one software engineer when he is trying to develop any systems of the world. You take any technology, any language, I don't care. But finally, can you give proper systems, proper information? So, why this is data, I hope you are capturing now. This is data because it cannot give clarity of the system, it cannot give you the clarity of the object, it cannot give you the clarity of the event, it cannot give you the clarity of the property. Therefore, we say it's unorganized. So, unorganized is logical or physical? Unorganized is a process of logical state or physical state? Logical state. Logical. Therefore, the way we are thinking, the way the other people are thinking, the difference comes here only. We people always look into the physical state of the system to check logically how it can be represented. Therefore, don't take physical definitions of the world. If you take the physical definitions of the world, 70% of the entire course will be a confusion for you. Sir, do you think that I should think like this only? You want the richest salaries with highest positions, you should start thinking like this. Choice is yours. That's what I said 24 hours back. What all I feel I have to give you, I'll give you. What all you want to take it, you take it. That's all. So just be very clear on this construct. So, keeping this data, can we develop any system now? Difficult. Why? Because when we don't have clarity how a proposed system can come out. Now here the question comes, so if data is never understood, how we have to build the systems now? Data is never understood is wrong. Data is not understood by certain people in the system is correct. Everybody cannot understand data is wrong. Some people can understand the data, and those people should share their understandability of experience to the next level of the people. The best thing what I say here is, catch me. You are part of one particular project, okay? Now at your level, you should understand the data perfectly is not a rule. But you are a developer. How you can develop anything what I am expecting from you if the system and the data is not clear to you? So within any particular project, there are certain people who are much aware and they are much intelligent about the data. Those people are called as functional consultants. Catch the terminology, okay? People who are coming in the industry for the first time, please catch the terminology. In every system, there will be certain kinds of people who understand the data and the system perfectly, and those people are called as functional consultants, or we call them as system analysts. Or we also call them sometimes as business analysts. These people will understand definitely the system. Why? These people will communicate with the client. So this data belongs to whom? Tell me, this data belongs to whom? Some business environment. Do you agree with me? So the person who is conducting the business, he can definitely understand this data perfectly. Am I correct? So you are a person part of the business, or you are a person who is developing a system for the business? You are a developer who is trying to develop the system for that business. Yes or no? So your job is what now? To go and talk to that particular client who is part of this particular system, to make him understand, to make you understand the data as information in that system. That is the only reason. If you are a software engineer expecting to keep 1 or 2 years of experience in your resume, we definitely expect that you have client communication skills with you. We definitely expect the client communication skills with you. Why? How many times you know how to speak with a business client to understand the data what he gives you and recognize that as information and tell your juniors how to do the job? For all the people who are keeping experience and making my points clear to you. If you don't keep your experience and come and say that, if you give me a keyboard, I will also pull the keyboard and start typing the skill statements. If I am part of the interview, I will say, a student who came out of the college also can do that. Why I need you? You are expecting 6 lakhs per annum, and a student who is coming out of the college is ready to work for just 2 lakhs per annum. So, people who are keeping experience catch few things. You like or you do not like, to catch these things. So, in any project, There are certain people who can understand the system, and those people are generally either functional consultants or business consultants or business analysts or system analysts. So those people will first come and discuss about what? System with you. When project meetings are conducted, those people are part of the meeting and they will explain the system to you. And we call that as what? Domain knowledge. We'll call that as domain knowledge. They share the domain experience to you. Means they are the people who are acting as bridge between the client and the developers. So as a developer, are you talking to the client always? No. Your first level communication is who? The business consultant in your organization. Your experience went on increasing now. You did first project, second project. In the first and second project, you were always communicating with whom? The business consultant. Whatever instructions he gave you, according to them, you started writing a logic of software. Do you agree with me? And in 2 years, you have designed yourself as a software engineer, let us say. In the third year, why I expect you to sit and write the code, man? Now, do you have the knowledge and guts to go and speak with the client to analyze the system or not? So, years together, you cannot say, you give me one keyboard, I'll sit and start typing now. That is what has happened in the last 10 years with many people, and that's the only reason today in the industry we have one wonderful information, lakhs of jobs are about to be lost. No job can be lost if the company feels you are suitable to that particular job. This is a big blunder where only in our country we say software industry is insecure. For next 50 years also, the only industry that can produce jobs is IT. Be sure about it. But are you ready to the standard of what IT expects in next generation? That's simple. Therefore, data is not something like you can take as a simple definition from the book and start speaking now. Finally, our job as a developer is take this data and keep it to the end user in the form of what? Information. So what is exactly information? So just let us catch to the process. Let us not exaggerate anything. Information is any data in a processed form. Therefore, before anything can become information, it should be what? Data. The reason for students coming from computer science background from your colleges, you just go back and recollect your SDLC. In SDLC, the first stage is what? The first step in your SDLC is what? Requirements collection. In requirements collection, you will say data collection or information collection. Data collection. You don't have anywhere information collection. Information is presented, data is collected. Therefore, you can never represent anything in the form of information until and unless its data as a state is not known to you. So, processed form means what? Processed form means when I am presenting the data to my end user's knowledge of understanding his business and executing his business should increase. Means whenever I say that this is information, my business client should tell me that because of this information, now I am able to understand the business in a more better way. Because of this information, I am able to understand what is happening, what is not happening in my business in the correct way. Means anytime you say this is information, it should definitely give the insight of the data in a more better way. Insight of the business in a more perfect way. That is information. Therefore, just come along with me in the next 5 minutes. It's very important for us now. Okay? Let us go to the previous slide. This is data, we have accepted it. It belongs to which system? We had confusion. This is also data. I am asking the same question. This belongs to which system? Employees Information System. When a question is asked on the data, you are able to give the correct answer to that particular question. Your process of transformation to information has started. Be very clear about that. This data belongs to which objects in the system? We had our own confusion. This data belongs to which objects in the system? Employees. See how quick the answer is coming? The client is able to understand the data of his business in a better way when compared with this or not? Yes or no? Now, if you say that these are the objects called as employees in your particular system, to which organization they belong to? We can't say. These employees belong to which organization? SkyS Techno. These employees are working in which particular place? We don't know. These employees are working for which place? Hyderabad. Belonging to which particular company? SkyS Techno. For which date they are recruited? 7th November 2017. These employees are recruited when? We don't know. What is the first column representing? It's a big confusion. What is the first column representing? Name of who? Employee. Belong to which organization? SkyS Techno. At which place? Hyderabad. Of which date? 7 November 2007. Every question is getting answered in watch. Information interconnects your data very perfectly for every event on which the question is raised. I am raising the question on event. You are giving the answer to object, applying on property. See the beauty here. The second column is representing what? Department to which the employee is working, for which particular place? Hyderabad. With respect to the name of those employees, for which organization? SkyS Techno Solutions. Means you put the question on any corner with any kind of combination, you get your answer finally. So, understanding data is your first job. As you learn your technology, converting the data into information is your second job. That is the only reason I gave you one diagram in one of the class. As a database management system developer, we should capture the data and should finally produce that as information. If you can complete this cycle, you are a database management system developer. If you completed your SQL, PLS skill, you are not a database management system developer. 95% of the students will come into this market only with one ambition: I should complete my SQL and PLS skill. My question is, what you will do with that? So, don't be ignorant like a student who came from your college once again. Are you catching the point now? You have learned all these things in your college also, but you felt that it cannot be used perfectly to the industry. So, you are sitting in this class only to understand how the industry works. I am too serious in my words. That's what I said. You sit with a student's mindset, it's very easy for me to manage you. But you are sitting with a professional's mindset, we both have challenge to implement many things. So, we should have clarity on the rule of data and information. Now, definitely I can promise from my side, if anybody is asking you the definition of data and information, I don't think you will speak like the remaining 99 people in the world now. I don't say how effectively you speak, but I can say you can speak better than other people. This is what we have to develop every day. So, whenever you speak about data and information, the way you can make the data more clear to the end user, such that end user should not have any confusion about this business data. Be very clear in my terms. The end user should not have any confusion about the business data. Then it is information. Till you do not try to keep your data as per the understandability of the end user and he accepts it as information, it is what? Data. Therefore, who should finally confirm it is information? Tell me, client, not you. It's not you. Remember that. Therefore, what you say is information is not information. What client finally says it's information is information. So what do you mean? Okay. Let us understand the behavior of the client in 2 minutes. Okay, so it's better we understand that guy today only. Because we have never encountered the client almost all in our life till now. Other than few working employees, all the remaining students I can say that you have never encountered your client any time. What will be the behavior of the client first of all? Let us just come along with me, okay? After completing this entire process using any technology, when you use Visual Basic, C#, Java or anything, I don't care. But finally you have made some arrangement of the data which is looking more meaningful or not? Yes or no? Yes. Finally you will give a presentation to the client. So before giving presentation, I think you will discuss with your colleagues also. Acha lag raha hai ki nahi? So imagine all your colleagues are said that awesome man, even with our experience we have never done like this any time. Now that is enough, I hope so, to keep you high in the process. And you're walking 6 meters above the earth automatically. With all your experience, first time you're facing the client in your life, no? And you went to the client and your company said like, please see that the things are going well, because the client has to release the bill now. Only when user acceptance testing is completed, bill realization will start now. So company is also having expectations on you when you're carrying the laptop. Be very clear about that. So you went and you open your laptop and you start giving the presentation, and you're in your own excitement, the first time presentation, first time with the client, where all the company people, all your colleagues said that awesome, wonderful, beautiful. No? So you'll also expect what from the client? Same thing. He claps his hands and says like, wonderful man. Now you open your laptop and you start giving the presentation. Saying, sir, we have done very great effort for this. Too much of coding we have done, and definitely I think we are giving you the best presentation. The client says, I will tell you that, you don't need to tell me. Client is a very straightforward guy now. Okay? Then you studied everything. Client is looking into this, and after looking from top to bottom, he said, it's looking good, man, but I have my own doubt now. The moment the client said, I have my doubt, be careful. Your whole nightmare can start there only. If you don't clarify his doubt, your work started once again. You clarified his doubt, you're awesome. So you're asking the client, like, sir, tell me what it is. Then he just said like, this is no doubt Hyderabad, but the employees are working. Can you just clarify me which Hyderabad? First time in your life you are all having confusion. They will definitely tell your client, sir, I didn't get you. Nothing like that. I have my companies in 20 different countries, and my luck or bad luck, I have my company also doing services in Pakistan, in Hyderabad. Now the only confusion I have is you're talking about the Hyderabad of India or Hyderabad of Pakistan, because these employees are now going to be confused for me now. Then you tell your client, sir, I was not thinking like that. Client says, you should think like that only. So please make that clear and come back to me. Your total 2 months of your struggle, in 2 minutes the client converts into data once again. Remember that. So with that one single thing, it becomes data. Yes, anything the client asks and you cannot confirm it with a meaning, it's data. It's not information. You cannot tell your client, sir, Hyderabad of India or Pakistan, what is the difference? Compromise. The client says, okay, I'll compromise. Our entire project is actually 200 crores. 100 crores I'll give you company. Go and tell them. I'll also compromise. So client will be very clear about his business. You came to your company, open the laptop, check in your code, where to do adjustment, all that logic you have to try. After 1 week you kept in such a way that it will show you the country first. You select the country, then cities will come. You select the city, employees will come. You select the city, country will come. You select the country, employees will come. You have made all the permutations and combinations, and then you once again went to the client now. And you start giving the presentation. Your expectation is what now? Problem is solved. But client should tell you that finally. And you went and presented the things to the client. Client clicked on the country. Countries list came. He selected the country. Cities list came. He selected the city. Employees list came. Everything is happening perfectly. Then the client said, it's good, but I have a doubt now. Finish. Therefore, your information is not information. What client finalizes is information. Till the last question what the client is asking you, you are giving an answer that is convincing the client and is accepting it. Then it is information. So you are asking your client now, sir, what is the problem this time now? Nothing, when I selected the country called as India, then I selected the place called as Hyderabad. These all employees came, it's looking good. But here you are saying that these are the salaries, but I think the currency is missing. Then you're telling the client, like, sir, Hyderabad, India means it's rupees only. No, I think it's better you also represent the criteria of the currency there. You should take back yourself once again, do it and come back. Client can question you million times like this. Therefore, today what is wonderful, tomorrow it may not be. Why? Because client's business requirement has changed. Whenever the client's business requirement is changing, your information can become data anytime. So in this dynamism of the existence, can you design your databases? Therefore, you know what technology in databases, that's a secondary thing, man. The technology, what you're learning, how best you can apply to the client finally to represent his information and make him accept that as information is your skill. So you're sitting in this class only to take that particular criteria as the highest priority. Like all the students, we will also learn SQL statements, we will also take some examples, everything will happen. But these additional discussions what we are having, these are the only things that will make you stay in your companies permanently with highest amount of security to understand the problem very effectively and give the solution with highest efficiency. So, data is what? Now, I don't want any of my students to give bookish definitions and expect the interviewer to get convinced. When I feel that you're out of your college, I'll always expect what best you can speak beyond your college. And keep that in the form of an experience such that I can get convinced. If these things are clear in our mind, then I think it's time to understand metadata. So tomorrow when I'm speaking with you, I'm on to the metadata. For first time beginners, there are certain things that can confuse you in the metadata. Don't worry. The metadata is a very large scale process to understand throughout the course. But the minimum things what I am saying, you should be at least in a position to catch. How best you are in metadata, don't worry about that. Making you best in the metadata is my job. At least to start somewhere in the fundamental side is your job. So, sir, in this area I have great doubt. I'll definitely answer every piece of your doubt. But when you come with a question to me, if I say that please wait, we'll check later on. It is not discouraging you. The only thing what I mean is, this point I will discuss more detail in the coming days. Till then, please wait. Why? Because what I'll discuss for 3-4 hours in the coming year, select in the coming classes, you expect me to just tell in 3 minutes only to convince you it's wrong. So we'll have a very proper discussion and communication among ourselves. Slowly we will try to understand how best we scale in this particular course. Let us see how we'll start up with the metadata in tomorrow's session. Thank you once again, tomorrow with you.